And that's another reason why I wanted to get Chuck Fusina on, because tonight is the night. Tonight, those two games are so big. You have LSU going up against Oklahoma and Clemson and Ohio State.
Well, Clemson, Ohio State, you can argue that is a national championship game, but everybody wants to see. Hold on, but everybody wants to see Clemson and LSU.
All right, so let's go to the sports hotline and welcome into the locker room Penn State quarterback Chuck Fusina. What's up, Chuck?
Hey, Billy. How you guys doing?
All right, man, Chuck, good to talk to you. We're just talking a little bit about bowls. We're broadcasting live from the the Wildwood Convention Center here in South Jersey for a basketball tournament. But we're talking a little about bowls, and the bowl season is upon us. Of course, Penn State's playing Memphis today in the Cotton Bowl. And Chuck, you had an opportunity to play in a few bowl games. I think you played in the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl. Tell us a little bit about your experiences, your memory about being in the bowl games.
Well, I think depending on where your team is, I think it's a little bit different each bowl. We had fun in all of them. I would have to think that my senior year when we were playing for the national championship in the Sugar Bowl sort of was a little bit more exciting, being the fact that we were hoping to win that national championship. But all bowls are a great experience. It's a lot of fun. It's great for the fans. It's a great experience for all the kids on the team, especially the seniors going out like that. So I just have nothing but good memories.
Chuck, what do you think about obviously with the way things are going, that people want like a tournament similar to the college basketball tournament? But I'm a traditionalist. I like the bowl setup. Do you think how would you devise it if you were in charge? Like, what would you do to make it, I guess, more watchable? Because we were just talking about my co-host Mark Grimes was saying the only people that are watching the Cotton Bowl today are people that went to Penn State, Memphis, or people that are gambling on it. What would you do to make the bowls more interesting?
Well, I kind of like 4. As you can see this year, they were having trouble even getting that 4th team in. But the most I would move it to would be 8. And then that way you can mix that in like they're doing now with a bowl on the 4 games. It would be the final 8, and then go to the next round and have 2 more rounds. I think if you get 8 teams in, I think that's a fair way to do it. But I don't see any problem the way it is now either.
We're talking with Chuck Fusina. You, of course, Chuck, in '78, you won the Maxwell Award. You're a consensus All-American. Of course, you played in the Super Bowl. You played for a great coach in Joe Paterno. Tell us what it's like playing for Coach Paterno.
Well, Coach was the big reason that I went to Penn State, and just the way he ran a program with his assistant coaches, the players that went up there that I met when I was getting recruited, and you make a few decisions in your life that you hope they are right, and that was definitely one of my best ones.
You played with who was your running back? Was it who was your running back for your senior year?
Well, we had a bunch of them. The ones that you probably know the most would be Mike Newman and Matt Suey.
Matt Suey, Matt Suey.
And also had Booker Moore, who was another first-round draft choice. We had really a slew of running backs, and another guy named Steve Geis, who's now a doctor. So all 4 of those guys shared time.
Now, Matt, Chuck, you had an opportunity when you got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL, but you played the majority of the time at the Philadelphia and the Baltimore Stars, and you won 2 USFL championships. I just saw a thing on Doug Flutie. I think it was the Football Life, Doug Flutie, when he came out, and he played for the Generals. But you go to the USFL league. Did you think it was going to last a long time? Like, what was your thought process going to USFL back then?
Well, I was in my 4th year in the NFL, and I was traded to San Francisco, and I was let go right at the end of the preseason, and was being told I would be brought back to the team right after the season started. And I got a call from Carl Peterson and Miles Tannenbaum, who was the owner at the time. And I went and saw them. They had the vision of what the league would be like, and I just thought it was a great opportunity. And again, I told you about a few decisions you make that you feel are right, and that was just right for me. And again, that was something I was really glad to be part of, and it was great being in Philadelphia. But of course, as everyone knows, a great sports town. We were able to win 2 championships and play in a 3rd. And, it was, again, a great experience. I got to play with a lot of Penn State people, too, that were on the team.
Hey, Chuck, this is Mark Grimes. There's two local legends down here in our Jersey Shore area. Doug Strang. Did he come in right after you? From Mainland High School, Doug Strang. He was like 1980.
Yeah,
right?
Doug was well, not right after me. I'm unfortunately a little bit older than you.
I gotcha. Okay.
Well, you got out in 79.
And then Al Harris. Al Harris is my dentist, who played on the 1982 championship team. Al is a linebacker.
Definitely, and I know both, and great players. And you know, it's a great fraternity that we have up there, the alumni and the Letterman Club, and I'm sure they'll say the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is Scott McKay. Chuck, we've got some good friends. A good friend of our show and who's a sponsor is Kenny Dunnick. So you got to play with Kenny, I think, a little bit. And also I went to high school with Pete Kugler, who was
I feel bad for you for that. But
right. He was one of the biggest kids in our high school growing up. He was just a big kid. And still a kid, probably.
He's in Colorado now or something.
Yeah.
But Ken Dunnick is definitely met him when we started playing at the Stars, and he's been a great friend ever since. And I'm just excited for him what he's doing with his magazine and
Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine. Yeah, he's one of our sponsors. Hey, Chuck.
Exactly.
Who do you have? You keep in touch with a lot of your Penn State alumni, your Penn State teammates?
We do. We have a tailgate once a year. We pick a game, and we all try to get together. And it's gotten to be sort of a tradition now that we have up there. And so it's usually in September. We're too old now to go to the cold weather games, so we try to keep it in September.
Now, Chuck, you played in what are the bowls you played? You played in the Fiesta Bowl. Is that right? You played. Did you ever?
I played in two Sugars, a Gator, a Fiesta, that's I say 2 Sugars, a Gator, and a Fiesta.
Yeah, those are big bowl games, man.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure being on the sidelines with a good buddy of mine, Chuck Betson, back in the day. I was on the field for the game against Miami, the Fiesta Bowl in Miami. I guess that was 87. Was that 87?
Yeah.
I think it was. And
that was when they won the national championship.
Yeah.
On that day, yes. Yep.
I'm telling you,
Yep.
probably one of the best. And I didn't have any allegiance to Penn State. I graduated from Rutgers, but one of the most exciting football games I think I've ever seen in my life. And to be on the field for that, the intensity and I was on the sidelines. I was working for a buddy of mine, Chuck, at the time. He was writing for the Press of Atlantic City. And he made me a runner. I had an opportunity to interview DJ Dozier, and I think it was and Paterno. I was in the press room afterward. But the intensity of those games, I guess you'll never forget, huh?
Well, you don't, and especially a game like that. I was trying to explain before when we played in the Sugar Bowl. Although we lost a great Alabama team, the intensity was, it's so high when you're playing for all the stakes. Now, everyone's talking about these games today and who's favored, who's not. But if I remember that game, Penn State was a heavy underdog. And it just shows on any given day. And you have the good coaching, you have the players are committed, and, anything could happen.
Hey, Chuck, how do you like this, the Final Four right now? Do you like Burrows winning it all or Clemson?
Well, you know what?
Don't get in trouble. Don't say Ohio State.
I haven't seen that's good. I've seen Ohio State more than anyone, so I should know that. And they should be a team that's both offensively and defensively very strong. I'm going to have to say that I could see why LSU is a favorite because of how they play both sides of the ball. But I won't be surprised. I really won't be surprised if Ohio State's there.
Wow.
All right, well, listen, Chuck, man, we really appreciate you taking time out of the day. I know you're getting ready for the Cotton Bowl. Penn State, 10-2, going against Memphis from the American Athletic Conference. And, listen, want to wish you a Happy New Year, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, thanks a lot. And tell Kenny Dunnick that our bet's still on, and he better pay up.
Will do. All right, there it is. Chuck Fusina,